哦，晚安。好，谢谢。那我先放大，对，大家来追剧了，继续追。看一下哈，任意按钮。那我就直接开始，我们就继续。昨天后来我也死掉了嘛，死掉他那个这一段我还是要跟他解一下，我这还是要跟他问他是不是昆提乌斯这个，对，然后跟他说我认错人了之类的，这样子活着离开。
Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in here without a hefty tribute, so you must have been desperate to see me. Well, what do you want?
My
name is Marcus Malleolus Gurgis. You mean my heterochromia? I am guilty of nothing more than having different colored eyes. And I'm hardly the only person with the condition. Alexander the Great had it too, as it happens. I like to think it is simply the way the gods have chosen to mark a natural-born ruler. Nothing more.
我弄错了，别在意。
That's quite all right. We all make mistakes. I trust you can see yourself out.
退出选举这个，我们现在还没有办法。晚安。然后他楼上的这个房间吼，里面应该是有藏了一些什么，就是这个，哎，可以进去了。
You're not supposed to be in here.
我们能谈谈吗？
Talk. What business could you possibly have with me? My marital affairs are no concern of yours. Thank you very much.
哦，报复一下，说你的故事。对啊，哎，先生。
I think a better question is, why am I have quite enough marriage trouble already, without having to explain to my husband why I'm receiving strange women in private. An intriguing proposition.
OK.
Go on.
帮他报复哦。麦略勒斯并不是像表面上看起来那么简单。
Perhaps you're not as silly as those clothes make you look. What makes you say that?
只是一种预感，我希望我们能一起查出他的真实身份。
You know, I may have the very thing you're looking for. Some time ago, when he still cared for me, he wrote me a love letter. Only
不是他的名字哦。
used the wrong name. Now, addressing one's wife by the wrong name is not unheard of among philandering Romans. But in this case, the name he got wrong was his own. I confronted him about it, and he stammered through some incoherent response. I let it go, eventually, and yet questions have lingered in the back of my mind ever since. But wait a minute. Why exactly are you helping me?
这个下面这个很，我觉得很难说服人这个这很像干话可是我不能透露给你，我觉得也没有帮助，逼他退出选举。可是逼他退出选举，对他老婆也没有好处吧？有可能要 reset 一次，我们先试试看好了。 反正我不行的话就 reset。
I couldn't agree more. One hand washes the other, as they say. It seems our interests are aligned. I imagine knowing his true identity will give me the leverage I need to manage him appropriately. But first,
OK，
I need you to do something for me. I want you to bring me some wine.
我有。
Just one small urn should do it. Oh, don't look at me like that. I know this must be hard for you to wrap your sweet little pleb head around.
Hey.
So what do you need me to spell out? Let me tell you something about Malleolus. He talks a lot about freedom, but what he doesn't tell you is that he means freedom for men. After all I've done for him, counseling him through his entire election campaign, and he had the audacity to lock me in here. He said it was for my own good, and that my drinking was unbecoming of a lady, let alone the wife of a magistrate. I'll show him unbecoming.
凯伦把我们都放到这里来啊，他不是小台气吗？
I'm going to get good and merry, and if he tries to discipline me again, I'll threaten to expose his true identity in front of everyone. I am so looking forward to it.
OK， 你们为什么不自己酒？我身上没有酒吗？
So you'll help me?
我正好有酒，来拿去。
Thank you. Here's the letter.
他们的纸好硬哦。昆提乌斯啊，果然呢，哈哈哈。
Now, perhaps you can tell me who Quinctius really is. What? He's... Oh no. That's... quite a lot more serious than I imagined. I only wanted some leverage over him, not to destroy him. Give me that immediately. Nobody else must know.
哎，这样子的话，我们可以马上再去拿一封吗？那个人应该已经死在那里了。看一下啊。
Thank you. Now, I think it's best if you go now.
Bye.
Why are you still?
你知道怎么从这里吗？
Preferably the way you
请你
came
滚
in.
出我家。OK， 好了，凶哎，
Finally.
凶哎。哦，2000呢。好，我们再去拿一封信，然后就可以把它凑在一起了。
That's quite an impressive bow you have there.
You need my help. I need you need my help. 你在哪里呀？可是你又不说话。大家脾气都很差欸。
Time, Dacius. I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
我身上就拿着一把弓在那里跑来跑去。好，然后我们再回去他家，他家是这边。
That's quite an impressive bow.
You again. What is it now?
What is it now?
Are you insane? You barge into my villa uninvited and then make outrageous demands? Why would I withdraw from an election I'm bound to win?
因为我知道你是昆提乌斯。
So, it finally caught up with me. I suppose that makes you, what, one of Nero's assassins? So, you're not going to kill me?
并释放和你有在意契约的人，有办法吗？这样要求不会太多吗？
Oh, so much work and money. Oh, well, if I do it, you'd let me live? Fine. Ruling this cesspit of a city would have been beneath me anyway. I'll have Domitius notify the priestess of my withdrawal and release those two from debt bondage. There, you got what you wanted. Now, please, leave my villa and never speak to me again.
成功。然后呢，有德之人这一位，然后去找他。
Keep an eye out for Santilla, would you?
晚安，晚安。哎，为什么我们现在的声音还听得到？多米提乌斯他们在那里说的。你在发呆什么？不要宕机了，喂，喂。你还好吗？这个人影竟然投到对面那个墙壁上，这个手电筒也太强了吧！哎呦，日落前若无人提名新的竞选者，宣布结束。好哦，那表示我们可以继续执行下一个任务了吗？他是任务，我叫他做完事情，他就会自动宕机在那边吗？我看一下有没有办法让他动。现在可以互动了吗？我觉得刚刚有可能是因为还在讲话。对，刚才因为还在跑那个。
Salve again, friend. I went and did as you asked, and it worked. How is it possible that you've just arrived here and you already know everyone and exactly what's about to happen to them? You're toying with me, right? Wait, you're not kidding, are you? That's the only way you could have known. You're a bit like... Oh, what was his name? Sisyphus. Yeah, that's the one. Old King Sisyphus.
可以见得，这是翻译。
Sisyphus was a Greek king a long time ago. For daring to think he could outsmart the gods, he was given a terrible punishment. He was forced to push a great boulder up to the top of a hill. Only, just as it reached the top, it would roll all the way back down to the bottom, forcing him to start over and over and over again for all eternity. Just like you. Actually, now that I think about it, there are a bunch of old stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over. Tantalus was made to grasp at fruit on a tree he could never quite reach. The Pleiades had to keep fetching water in a sieve. Oh, and Ixion was strapped to a wheel going round and round forever. But on the bright side, he's
Shit.
still not stuck in the underworld like they all were.
是，至少还有那个，继续 ，Yeah, continue.
Anyway, I don't know which god you managed to upset to get yourself into this position, friend, but you seem all right to me. So, I'll tell you what. I'll keep doing whatever I can to help you. And you just focus on finding a way to break the cycle you're in.
Thanks.
Oh, that's kind of you to say. Now, I'm going to keep your secret. Although, it's not as if I'll remember this next time we talk anyway, right? Oh, and if our conversations ever start to annoy you, just tell me you're busy. I know when I'm not wanted. May fortune smile on you, friend. Salve again, my Sisyphean friend. Now, what's on your mind?
你经历过些什么？
Well, it's
听一下他的故事。
a long one and kind of sad, but I don't mind telling it. I'm a farmer.
以前就是农民啊。
I grew up in a small village in Britannia, Camulodunum, with my parents and 2 little sisters. Lovely part of the world. One day, when I was about 20, my father and I were in the top paddock, loading our cart, when some Roman legionaries came along, demanding produce for their men. My father told me to run into the house for his axe, and so I did. Sprinted so fast I almost threw up, but by the time I got back, he was bleeding out on the ground, and our cart was empty.
Shit.
That was my first encounter with the legions. My mother died of a broken heart soon after, and things went downhill from there. I took over the farmstead, but I was young, and it was a struggle. More raiding started before too long. We'd come outside in the morning to find animals missing, our stores pillaged. These legion thugs just took whatever they wanted. One night, when my sisters and I had nothing left to steal, there was a knock at the door. I knew who they were, and what they wanted. I got my father's old axe, pulled the door open real quick, and before that soldier knew it, split his face right down the middle. But there were more of them. I never saw how many, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up with a mouth full of dirt and lungs full of smoke. My home was reduced to ash. My sisters, dead. And they left me alive to see what they'd done.
Damn.
Still burns whenever I think about it. Yeah, well, I wasn't the only one this happened to. It wasn't long before Boudica led thousands of Britons in a rebellion against the Romans. Unfortunately, there were just too many of them. And those of us who survived, they enslaved. So, then I found myself being transported all the way to Rome to be sold to the highest bidder. I spent a few years working for my new master, learning the Romans' ways, Romanized my name and everything. Tried to escape a couple of times, but they always found me, and I'd just end up right back where I was. I'd probably still be there too, if it wasn't for the stampedes breaking out.
Okay.
You see, about 7 months ago, an enormous fire broke out in Rome. Everybody was running down toward the river, screaming and shouting. I'd never seen anything like it. Human beings acting like cattle. I got swept up with them somehow, and the rest is a blur. The next thing I knew, some stranger was dragging me out of a river. Stumbled across this place and started my life over again.
很高兴你终于得到了解答。
That's what I thought too, for a while. But it seems the gods aren't done tormenting me yet. See, I finally had my own farm again, safe from the grasping hands of the Romans. Or so I thought. Until Sentius the Decurion demanded I hand over all my produce. It's for the good of us all, he says. Only he takes the best bits for himself, of course. He even told me if I refuse his demands, I'll break the golden rule. I'm not sure I believe him, but then, what if he's right? So, it turns out our dear old magistrate is no better than the Legion thugs who took everything from me.
那这样就有一个理由。
But don't you worry, Nemesis is waiting, and he'll get his one day. He'll get his. Forget I said that last part, will you? I get carried away sometimes. Thanks, friend. Anyway, that's enough.
你知道从这出去的路吗？你对黄金法则、对选举有什么看法？
I can't see how I could vote for either candidate. I don't like Sentius much, but Malleolus is on. Even I could do a better job. Me?
OK， 那你还
I've bounced the idea
有
around
吗
once or twice.
？OK，
and
一
he
两
has a way
次
of
哦
getting。duly set free. God knows Sentius is never going to do it.
OK，
But
对哦，
from
他
what
之
I
前就有
hear,
说了。
Malleolus has the election stitched up. Nobody's going to take him on and win. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about freedom, so I'm hoping if he's elected, he'll release Dooley from his cell.
说服
That's good enough for me. He did? Oh, that was.
那现在该我出场了，去吧。
I wonder what could have
就是
possessed
你
him
啊
to do that. Well, I guess it's time for me to step up then. I'll let Equitia know I'll be running. All right, friend. Hope you find a way to break that cycle you're in.
好，请召开选举，设法让他受到大多数选民的 OK。雾水难收到，我要先让他上去之后，我才能拿到这个嘛，手中的那个钥匙，还有那个石板。然后这样的话，去跟其他人讲那个事情。
Shalom. Sentius, I suppose. I'd have to be insane to vote for Malleolus after what he did to me. Galerius, the farmer, he's a good man, but I think he's more valuable on the farm than as magistrate.
要怎么样改变呢、这个
All right, friend.
要怎么改这个呢？我想一下，召开选举很有可能会输啊，因为以现在的情况的话，
Isn't the great temple majestic?
What is it, citizen?
讲他自己的故事，行政官
He's one of the better commanders I've ever had. That's for sure. Good stoic. Lives by Seneca's words. Treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Can't ask for much more than that. Not that it's any of your business. I'm a legionary. I act as the magistrate. I also...
好，
All right?
那没关系，我现在这个还要再看一下，我不知道这个要怎么解。希腊的这个我们先去问一下好了。杜立，对吧？就是后面那一块啊。
Hello. Have we met before? My friend Hannibal used to look. He said he gave me the. All I remember now, nobody looked.
嗯哼。如果你把钥匙给我，我可以试试。这个已经跟他讲过了。
My friend
等一下，我
Hannibal.
看一下
he- all I
旁边那个
remember-
有没有什么其他的选择。行政官把你关在这里是有原因的。
Galerius already tried. Like, if you help make Hannibal's.
嗯，
But he said he gave all I
另外一个
remember.
选择呢？
You're me.
等我一下啊、不好意思。
Hello?
Don't you just love springtime?
Hmm. 没有办法，那只能一定要你手过来了。
Salve again, my sister. Oh, and I'm in the running for magistrate. Feeling kind of nervous.
OK， 他已经有去那个。
But I'm hoping it'll all be worth it when I order Dooley's release. I just hope I'll have the votes I need. Now, what's on your mind?
要怎么样帮他拿到那个投票呢？拿到那个选票才对。
All right, friend.
他会来找他。好，那我先去找这一位。
Welcome to my humble store. Greetings. My friend, your words intrigue me more and more. But yes, very well. Ask me what you will.
希腊文。
And in a city full of Romans, you are asking me? Because I am Greek. Let me tell you something about Greeks and Romans. My name is Georgios, yes. But the Romans, they do not care. They hear me say Georgios, and they think, ah, he must mean Georgios. Good Roman name. They do this all the time. They see us worshipping Zeus, they copy us, but call him Jupiter. They take Hades and call him Pluto, Persephone, Proserpina. I am flattered that they copy our ideas, but why must they change the names?
连名字都改。
Do they want credit for making it all up? Do they want to forget where it came from? At first, I pull my hair out. After a while, I give up, and I become Georgios the Roman. I accept the world is Roman. Plus, I have no hair left to pull.
我也没有头发可以扯。
My point is this. If you want to know who stole an old Greek name, look no further than the sticky-fingered Romans. The plague you seek was pilfered from a collection of old Greek relics by none other than Dooley. He cannot help it. Like a typical Roman, he likes shiny things, especially those that once belonged to my people. And besides, it makes him happy.
对吧？就是牢
So I say,
OK
let him
牢
keep
房
it.
里面那一个。
I believe he still has it with him, in his cell, just opposite the Temple of Demeter.
好，
I knew this
所以它
day
里面
would
那个
come.
就是
I do not wish to lie to you, my friend, but even discussing this matter is dangerous.
希腊文的在那个里
Please,
面。
let us leave the live coals safely beneath the ash.
你可以相信我，我们这群外乡人必须团结一致。
Very well, but the magistrate would not look kindly upon this, so please keep it to yourself. For several months now, I have been sneaking out at night to worship the gods of my ancestors in the Temple of Demeter. Each day, I leave offerings of food in the hope that we may have a bountiful harvest, and yet the next day when I return, the food is missing.
真奇怪。
So I ask, who or what is devouring the food in this temple? Stranger still. Once I sat in front of my shop like the 100-eyed Argus until dawn to see if I could spot a thief going in. But do you know what I saw?
喝醉的人。
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nobody entered. And yet when I went to take a look, my offering was gone. It is bizarre, is it not?
啊，
When I told my friend Kabas of this at the tavern, he offered to help investigate. He went in, and to my dismay, he was never seen again.
在哪里？
It is the
唯
only
一
Greek
希腊
temple
神
in the
庙
city.
浴场走
Head towards
右手
the
边
baths, and it is the last building on your right.
OK。
I do not think you should pursue this, my friend. It would break my heart to be responsible for two people disappearing. But you do not strike me as a kind of person to be deterred by
好吧
such warnings.
有
So
秘密了。
just be careful. I beg you.
哟，浴场在这边。这个吧。古希腊神像供奉的某位女神，可能当地的哦，对啊，就是这里面。等一下啊、 哦，哦，又是一堆秘密空间在这里。手电筒拿好。里拉琴。底下还蛮多东西的，可是还没有看到有食物或是尸体什么的。哦，哇，地下城。
Ah, a visitor. Welcome, welcome. May I ask your name?
You first.
It is best you do not know my name, for merely to speak of my existence in the city above could bring destruction on you all. Tell me,
该不会就是那个神吧？
all the way down here. Ah, Kabash. I know this man. He came through here some weeks ago. I will tell you everything I know, but first, a request. I have been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself. The one thing I long for above all else before I die is a good philosophical argument with somebody astute. I'm hoping that person is you. Let us find out with this simple question. Have you deduced the name of the god responsible for the Golden Rule? Excellent. I see you are indeed quite astute.
能在还活着的时候意识到这一点。
Before their time in the sun is over. Now, will you join me in a friendly Socratic dialogue? Wonderful. Then let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong?
这个问题很复杂。
You are an overthinker too. We're the same then. That's probably why I became a philosopher. But if you struggle with right and wrong normally, then down here with the Golden Rule, surely your struggle can only have become more difficult. Well, that's reassuring. And the truth is, you're not alone. You see, out there in the world, being uncertain about right and wrong was acceptable, because our mistakes rarely had consequences. So we would tell lies and bend rules and turn a blind eye and rationalize, and yet still find a way to think of ourselves as good people. But under the Golden Rule, morality matters. The slightest wrongdoing could result in a mass execution. So to navigate this maze, we would have to be certain about the difference between right and wrong.
必须明辨是非意义 ，yes。可是谁口中的是与非？
That is an excellent question, and it leads directly to my next line of inquiry. So let me ask you this. Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct?
没有。
Which you could follow in every situation and always do the right thing?
不止一个正确的体系。是否有一种道德？不，我觉得不行。是否有一种道德 ？No.
Are you sure? Or is it possible that humans simply haven't figured out the right system yet?
正确的道德体系。这个正确又是另外一个问题。
So is it up to each of us to decide what right and wrong mean to us individually? Or must we simply follow the laws and customs of whichever community we're in?
哦，还可以改变主意啊。这个问题。
Good. Never discourage anyone who continually makes progress, no matter how slow. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong?
对哦，直接从头啊。
You are an overthinker too.
Okay.
But if you well, that's reassuring. So we would tell lie, but that isn't. So let me ask you this: is there one system of morality which? How can that be? Since they all have differences, it follows that in some cases they would offer different conclusions about what is right and wrong. If there is a correct moral code, then wouldn't it follow that only one can be the correct one?
Oh, 也许我还可以倒回去就对了。道德系统的正确性取决于所在社群体的社会群体的法律与习俗。这本身法律本身也是有问题的，那习俗也有所谓的陋习。这个正确性，正确。
Are you sure? Or is it possible that humans simply haven't figured out the right system yet? After hundreds of years, and as many great thinkers dedicating their lives to these questions, what hope do we have if our best and brightest haven't been able to answer them?
你的意思是？我比较好奇他的意思是什么？应该存档的吼。
My point is this. I don't think anyone alive truly knows any hard and fast rules about right and wrong.
我觉得变取决于，像是不可杀人就变成是你当下的那个情况。可是。
If there is one thing I have observed about rules, it is that virtuous people do not need them, and evil people will always find a way around them. And so we must accept our limitations, and the sad truth that no human society will ever achieve the utopia for which it strives. In mathematics, we would call it an asymptote, a line that can be approached but never reached. Because the only way to create a utopia is with the ever-present threat of force, such as the golden rule. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs when he first appears as a protector. And life under tyranny is no utopia at all. I'm glad to hear that. In any case, thank you for humoring an old man. I would be happy to answer your questions. You mean how did I end up living alone in this cave with nothing but these
这个人到底
relics
是
of
谁？
past
我真的很好
company?
奇，太有趣。
It's a long story. I was a quarrelsome young man. At 19, I left Corinth for Rome to study rhetoric at one of her finest academies, so I could argue more forcefully. Back then, I used to enjoy verbally sparring with everyone I could, and I was good. One night, I found myself in a tavern in an argument with a drunk mercenary. It became heated. He drew a gladius, and I won the argument, but lost my life. I woke up on the banks of the Styx at a campfire opposite Karen. Of course, I tried to persuade her to let me return.
因为他的经历跟其他人不一样。
With all my skill, I failed. I settled in, made friends, and learned what I could, quickly realizing our little community faced certain death under the Golden Rule. So I began looking for a place to hide underground. Fortunately, I found this place waiting for me.
他是上一批的，他不是这一群。
I was not the first to take
他不
refuge.
是跳到水面的。
I returned to my friends above, persuaded them to join me, and 12 of us descended for the last time to live out our days hidden from Hades' tyranny.
希腊人
They are one and the same. The Romans call him Pluto.
哲学家隐士
Before that,
哦，已经有
my
名字
people
了。
called him Hades.
你为什么不能回到地面上？
My generation was wiped out.
多年前就已经
turned
大
to
难
gold
大难
many years ago. My friends and I were able to avoid the same fate by hiding down here. I think it's safest to assume that if I was to return, Hades would realize that his furies hadn't finished the job, and he'd send them after me again.
好酷，上一
I
批的
fear
人
that if you were to utter my name in the city, even by mistake, that Hades would hear you and know I am still alive. I'm afraid I am the only one left. There were 12 of us in the beginning, but one by one, my friends passed away. Some from malnutrition, others from madness and despair. It has been lonely. Before my unexpected visit from Kabash some weeks ago, I'd not seen another person in many, many years. Living in darkness is not without its challenges. The first challenge is diet. Fortunately, I found that eating fresh fish provides most of the nutrients I need. And sometimes, when there are Greek people living up above, I surface at night and salvage the offerings they've left in the temple of Demeter. The greater challenge is the isolation. So I like to imagine arguments, where I argue both sides. But, like so many things in life, arguments are better with a partner. As you wish.
你知道出去的路吗？
Ha! If I did, would I be living like this?
Maybe.
Did we not discuss it at length already? Oh, I see. You're toying with me. Ha!
方尖碑取下来，你知道
You
吗
seek the plaque bearing the
Yes.
Egyptian inscription.
？Yes，正是。
It is a cursed object.
把它拿
I
走
would be happy to give it to you if Kabash had not already taken it. I will tell you, but you may find him hostile. To prepare for your encounter, there are certain things you must know. Very few know this, but before the Romans came to this city, it was once
Okay.
entirely Greek.
完全希
The
腊。
architecture, the temples, and the people. When the Romans came, in typical fashion, they claimed it as their own, built over everything that could be built over, and renamed the things that could
真的
not.
是很罗马人
Thus, the shrine of Persephone became the shrine of Proserpina. And when they found an obelisk bearing the name Hades, they tore it off and replaced it with Pluto instead. And the city's dwindling Greek residents, witnessing this compulsive Roman conquest, decided to
对话很
preserve
重要，
what
这
they
游戏是以
could.
对话为主的，是解谜。
They gathered their art and valuables, secreted them away through the temple of Demeter.
那这是说听故事吧，听故事算是很重要。但是我们要透过我们听到的故事来做出对话上的选择。
However, there was one thing that always seemed out of place to me, and it is the very thing you seek. An even older plaque bearing an Egyptian inscription.
它怎么会在你们手里？
We had no idea until years later.
我觉得上面刻的应该都是死神的名字，只是不同版
As a
本
result of
的。
their deaths, we
有没有？
began
不
to
是
dig
说黑帝斯，然后
catacombs
可能是
branching
埃
off
及的
from。this cavern to lay them to rest. We extended the tunnel so far that we accidentally discovered
更
another,
旧的隧道
an。even older tunnel, which somebody had gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Suddenly it made sense why there was an out-of-place Egyptian plaque among our
因为更早以前是埃及的。
You see, we proud Greeks had thought the Romans beasts for stealing and corrupting our heritage. But it turns out this game has been going on much longer than any of us imagined. I think it is best you head through the catacombs and follow Kabash's trail.
好，里面有什么东西？
There are certain things you must see for yourself. Take this key. You'll need it to open the gate.
好，谢谢。
I enjoyed our chat, but please keep my presence here a secret, yes?
OK， 没问题。浴盆改装为床，这感觉这个其实感觉好像还蛮舒服的。继续往那里走。啊，那他刚刚上面那里是什么？
Ah, you've returned.
诶，这也是街道哦。OK， 应该是回到我们刚刚的位置吧。来，我们直接往那里去。
Ah, you've returned.
地下墓穴，1、2、3、4，哲学家朋友，11个朋友之一。我还是拿起来好了，我的弓先拿着。不过他在这边，他可以在这边住这么久，应该是没有问题啊，只是。 对，应该是不太会这么快就遇到敌人，不然他应该早就遇到了。哎呦，埃及的部分。 shit！ 看一下，好，这里是，那里是另外一区了。那应该他刚才说的，发现了另外一区。我们先往这边看看好了。 哎，这里又是另外一个门。Holy shit！ 我们要往这边去吗？我们先往旁边那个门好了。怎么都那么可怕？ 哦，从另外一边锁上了。OK， 好，那表示我们要走这里的，没错。你觉得听故事很赞吗？我很喜欢，就是尤其是配音好的这种对话，然后又写得很好的这种剧本，那些想要听他们讲，就是说这就是角色会活过来，你懂吗？真的会好奇说，到底是你会想听他们好好讲完。Holy shit！ 听到一些声音，这里有一只在动，关小声，对，我们要进入埃及区了。这是什么声音啦？谁呢？那个，这里，这时间会想睡觉。我了解，也可以啊，听这个睡也不错啊。练音听啊，木乃伊对，应该已经是木乃伊了。这边还有一个在动，这里。你看他们的服装也不一样了，已经到对啊，这是埃及服饰了。我再拿几把剑，有一点齁，有一点点，一人作恶，众人受难，就已经是这样子哎，但这不知道是什么时候的事情了，有没有？所以我觉得应该上面的名字很有可能都写的是死神的名称这样子，只是那这个到底多久远就更不知道了。0800年那个好久的广告，这里还有一只。这里，好，踢一下。这样的话，那一位跑下来的人竟然怎么还活着？他再怎么躲过这么多那个的？可怕加100，不是800吗？是092吗？哎呦！这一位
Stop! Do not come any closer. Who are you?
就是他吗？
I am Kabash.
就是 Kabash.
And let me guess, another Greek or Roman come to loot and plunder the resting place of my ancestors.
他原本是埃及人呢。
Trousers, boots. Curious here. No, I suppose you do not. Then what do you want? To what end?
把它放回到方尖碑上。
That is welcome news. You really are not Greek or Roman, are you? I was planning to return it myself, but for now, I must remain. Here, take it and restore the honor of Osiris.
Osiris. 无声之主，对，谢谢。
Now, As for the other plaque,
你知道那东西
indeed, I have it right here. I stumbled across a collection of dusty curiosities while searching for a place to hide from the hungry children of Amit, and there it was. You may not. In fact, I am about to destroy it.
Why not?
Because it speaks a treacherous, blasphemous lie.
究竟是怎么
I
回
will
事？
tell you, but first, do you know what this place is? It has a name, and that is the Duat.
Duat
See what
也
has
是冥
become
界
of。it. I have been down here for weeks, piecing together its story, and here is what I have learned. As Egypt declined and the Greeks had their turn to flourish, their souls came here in great numbers. But instead of adopting our ways, they copied and corrupted them. When they found the obelisk bearing the name Osiris, the true god of the underworld, they desecrated it, removing his name and replacing it with Hades. Even the ferryman of the dead, known to my people long before as Kerti, they renamed to Keron. As if that desecration was not enough,
大
they
兴土
built
木。
over this place, using it as
Okay.
the foundation for their own underworld, so that ours was forgotten.
不断的盖上去
My
就对
only
了。
solace is that the Greeks then suffered the same fate when the Romans rose to power, renaming Hades to Pluto, and the cycle began anew.
这块名对啊，
It is inscribed with a script I do not recognize, but it is ancient,
那这样
almost
为
as
什么要
if
破坏？
it is older than the plaque bearing Osiris's name. But if that is so, it would imply the gods of Egypt are mere imitations too, copied and corrupted from an ancient people who prospered even before us.
可是历史不就是这样
And
子
that
吗？
my people did to them what the Greeks and Romans did to us. But this I cannot accept. I sense a deception. Perhaps it is the work of Set, the usurper, seeking to undermine Osiris once more.
铭文上面都说了什么？
You will never know. This work of sacrilege must be destroyed, thrown into the black abyss below in Osiris's name.
请不要这么做。说请有用吗 ？Please。
You are too late. It is done. It could not have gone any other way. It was Osiris's will. Now, the thing of evil you... I am from Rakotis, which you
亚历
may
山
know
大港
as
那里。
Alexandria, the name of the city the Greeks built over it. I was a fisherman, like my father before me. Since the Romans had taken over from the Greeks, I took the opportunity to learn Latin and eventually traveled to Rome. When the fires broke out last year, I tried to help. I gathered and led many of them to safety farther along the Tiber.
是个好
On
人
my
呢。
7th trip, a passenger demanded I wait for his brother. But we were full to almost sinking, and smoke was all around us. I told him his brother would have to save himself, and he tried to bribe me by placing a coin into my hand. When I refused, he drew a dagger and thrust it between my ribs. I awoke on the banks of the river to a stranger wearing a ram headdress. He said his name was Kerti, and at the time, I simply thought him odd. It did not dawn on me until much later that he was the Kerti, the ram-headed
所以
ferryman
他也知道这边是
described
冥
in
界。
the Book of the Dead.
你对黄金法则怎么看？
I think if someone is to break the golden rule, it will not be me, for I try to live as I always have by the command of the goddess Ma'at. Do to the doer to make him do, As for the punishment that will come from it, I finally understand
人灵的
why
皮
it
肤
has long been said among my people that gold is the skin of the gods.
下面有什么？
I do not
无尽的
know
黑暗。
what could possibly lie beneath the underworld. Perhaps
好哦
it is infinite darkness.
真是太感谢了。
Perhaps it is the lair of Amit, the devourer of souls. All I know is everyone so confident?
耶，我要走了，拜拜。
Wait. You would plunge into the depths of the Duat.
谁叫你要掉下去，我就只能下去啊。
Madness.
我会找到上去的路。
We shall.
拜拜 ，Let's go。Bye。哦，苏美啊，楔形文字，更早的。真的耶，是更早的，这是西亚文明那里的。等一下，我看一下上面是写什么。它竟然还有翻译。楔形文字，聂加尔，狂暴之王。哦，这个在大英博物馆看得到，我有去看过，这真的很大一颗。美索不达米亚雕像，那种东西就倒下来，人一定会被压扁那种，超大。我的天啊，哇！感觉快要出现那个敌人了，亮亮的，亮亮的。哎呦，这边这样子我，oh shit，oh shit，oh shit，我踩到那个会有石头滚下来 ，shit。啊，它这样水位会往上涨吗？好像没有，没事，没事，吓死我了。Shit。淘气，真淘气！来，我还是不要踩到这个，跳！哎呦，有出去的路。太酷了吧！这个路障，绝对不是在说我。哎，又没有敌人，全部都变成那个了吗
When I told you that you would not find a way back up, that was not a prediction. That was a promise. You will die here.
我们大可不必拳脚相向。
I disagree. I warned you against coming down here. against perpetuating this sacrilege, but you persisted. You have undermined and dishonored the true God of the underworld. How did you think this would end, if not with bloodshed? Very well, I will listen. But if I sense deception, or if you further insult my gods, I will carry out my threat. So tell me, why should I let you live after you salvaged this instrument of blasphemy?
在先人的基础上发展自己的文化，并没有什么可耻之处。我是想要把所有的名牌都放到，哎呀，这个选择啊，这个对话选择啊，来，我们先看这个。如果是这样的话，我会选择被，应该说我会踩机关，然后被石头用死，甚至被石头碾过去，他直接 reset， 应该可以看其他对话。
That may be true of many things, but this is different. If our gods were copied and corrupted from an older civilization, does that not mean they are false? Does that not mean our prayers to our gods all fell on deaf ears because we were not even addressing them by their true names?
如果神灵们存在，那么有没有可能他们都拥有不止一个真名？这一点我是觉得是，这是一个理论呢，也是一个理论，就是这些神其实都是同一个或者是同一批人、同一批神，只是在不同的文化里面有不同的说法，或者是不同的名称这样子。
Now that I think about it, my people would sometimes call Osiris the god of many names. Perhaps it is so, but the underworld of my people is so different to this one, and so unlike the way it was described by our priests. Many of my ancestors endured great hardship to live good lives so that we may descend to the Duat in death and be judged accordingly. We prepared to have our hearts weighed on Anubis' scales and to swear ourselves innocent of sin before the 42 assessors of Ma'at. And yet, I arrive here to find the Book of the Dead contained only a seed of truth. And now I ask myself, did our priests steal and embellish the stories of an older people and feed us lies all our lives simply to trick us into obedience?
这个难道我们不应该追求做一个好人吗？这两个选择都很难讲哦。很想直觉反应啊。你都很想选哈，都很想选啊，对吧？我觉得这是如果写得好，就会让你都很想选，而不是有一个很明显跟你说就是答案这样子，因为变成是真的是你会因为你自己的想法而有不一样的那个选择。而不是很明显的，就是要讲这样，所以才可以达到这样子的那个目标啊之类。
I am not sure I follow. Speak plainly.
Speak plain. 我已经讲中文了。
Now you insult me and all of my ancestors. You have sealed your own fate. Good. I welcome it. You see, the philosopher told me that each time it breaks, Osiris bellows with rage, and his voice shakes the very foundations of the earth. I can only hope one more tremor will lay waste to this fragile place once and for all, and you along with it.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
还有， 哎呦，要被射死了。不过我们还是可以，我们应该是可以直接跑出去，然后 reset 哈。跑出去，然后 reset， 然后我们还是有那个拿到那个东西，这也是一个办法。我想跟他再聊一次。
When I told you
Yeah.
You have very.
我试试看可不可以。
Why? But that makes no sense. How would it honor him to place false names on his sacred Tekenhu? Now that I think about it,
所以这个也会引导到这个地方了。
The underworld of my people, many are we and yet did our priests still? I am. Perhaps there is some truth in that. What is your point?
虽然你现在发现自己一直被误导，但你已经做了一辈子的好人，难道就因为这样而放弃吗？在现在这个最重要的时刻。
You are persuasive. Very well. I will let you live, and you may do what you will with that plaque. I will remain here for a while and attempt to learn what I can about the foundations of my people's beliefs.
这刚刚就差最后一个选择。
Go.
现在这个晃动是怎样？好可怕！这个晃这么大力。我们回来了。Oh, thank God. Still alive, yes. 我还活着。然后我要怎么离开这里？手电筒拿起来好了，看不到。哦 ，yes， 我回来了。
You carry the gift of Prometheus in your hand.
Yes.
Remarkable.
Thanks. 我先上去了，很高兴能跟你聊天，跟你聊天挺有趣的。所以这样子我们只剩一块嘞，所以我们要走这个剧情线吗？走那个进去神殿里面的剧情线吗？晚上了，还没。
Salve.
差一块，要让他选上啊！可要怎么让他选上，这是个问题啊。 好哦。哎呦，我们已经解了这么多嘞。希腊铭文碑，对啊，就在那个里面了。有德之人，覆水难收，我们要先拿到这个才行。找出最有可能打破的。我觉得这个收集，如何向诸神寻求帮助？我们能谈谈有关逃出冥界的事情吗
？Oh my. Let's see. We don't have much. Hercules, the demigod.
这我知道，我们聊过了。
So it seems you have two.
直接面对冥界之神进行反抗，逃离此地。
As I mentioned, both Orpheus. The problem is, first, it's said. It is. If the stories are true, I imagine the problem is leaving. True. Then can you tell me if she has indeed been abducted?
请听寻找有关出路的线索。好哦。
Tell me. That is strange. There are no.
看来我需要进入上部蓄水池看看。
Right, because the current flows into the city through the aqueduct and into the upper cistern. I vaguely recall wondering what was in there, but the door at the back of the great temple is locked up tight. You might be able to get a key from the magistrate, but if that doesn't work, perhaps you can find another way in. Let me know if you find anything in there. May Fortuna guide you.
要上部蓄水池哦。要跟他拿吗？感觉跟他拿是一个。
Ave again. It must be it'll be between Sentius, the Why do you ask? Certain. See you again.
感觉要让他做更多事。他虽然是工具人，可是我觉得就是因为他是工具人这一点，所以说才有办法让某些人愿意投他。就是说，
Welcome.
他去帮忙救了不少人这样子。
Feeling all right? Sure. What do you? Glad.
他没有要讲投票时，哦对。
That's.
他没有办法投。
Sometimes I stare at the welcome. Well, Cynthia seems to know what it. My. Nice to talk.
拿到钥匙的话，我们的确我们就可以跑出去了吧？可是我要那个啊，我想要这个铭文碑啊。
You look well, my Sartorian. Hey, my friend. Truly, my imagination runs wild. Should I stop my off? Very well. Now, who's
把票投给谁？
Galerius?
对。
Did you know he saved the life of my young friend Fabia? The man is a hero. But of course.
OK， 所以说的确让他做更多，就是把这些事情给他做，是可以让大家投给他的，对。
I hope that our
我去找他看看能不能要钥匙好了。
Are they? We're finally alone. I assume you will. We have? Wait, I must have entrusted you with figuring. Is that about right? Look, it's unfortunate. Now, I assume.
关于你可以把上部蓄水池的钥匙拿给我吗？
You mean Duilius? Perhaps you're not aware he was caught. Look, I can see where you're going with this. You think me cruel. I assure you that is not the case. It was not so long ago, during the Republic. The law of the 12. Here we see to it that a privilege that would be taken away from all of us were he to be released and commit the crime of trespass. The man has no self-discipline, poor comprehension of what is going on around him, and is an incorrigible rule breaker. I will not jeopardize the lives of my people so that one man can go free. Now, was there something else?
好吧，没办法。
I think it's best if I hang on to it.
为什么？
You mean to ask, why am I unwilling to trust a newly arrived non-citizen with access to our water supply, the lifeblood of this city? I'm sorry, but that is simply out of the question.
可是如果我射死他的话，我们是不是就没有传送门了？我比较好奇这个点哦。如果我们射死他，我们是不是就没有传送门给回去？这样子会造成其中一个 ending。我是觉得很有可能会造成其中一个 ending 不一样的 ending 这样。
Yes, our water supply from you. I wasn't born yesterday. Poisoning a city's water supply is the oldest trick in the Codex. Quite literally. Aeneas the Tactician wrote a siegecraft manual for military commanders some 300 years ago, recommending the poisoning or pollution of cisterns. And I'm beginning to wonder if the culprit we're looking for might, after all this, be you. Perhaps it was a mistake on my part to place so much trust in you. I'm glad to hear that. Now, was there something else?
有够难要这个。
Thank you. I'll be.
等我一下。OK， 因为那个我们昨天有跟你们说我家的那个浴室的问题，就现在有那个工程师来，也有那个来看那个管线就对了，还有那个装置的部分。
That's quite an impressive bow you have there.
看一下覆水难收，问了没办法，找到别的方法进入上部蓄水池，或许可以，我们可以再过去看看。然后有德之人。 黄金法则，收集4块起源点。刚才不是有一个那个任务自己完成了，神圣干涉。我要问他怎么解读啊？原来为什么是自己完成？没有
May 4.
好吧，那就是真的是结束了哈。覆水难收，上部蓄水池，要不然我们再过去看看好了。 因为旁边这里有一些那个我们还没有，水源来自喷泉上的高架。OK， 好。跳不上去啊！可是旁边有那个叶子，我们还没有射过。我来看一下旁边这个有没有办法，不是叶子，藤蔓。我们这个藤蔓，那我不知道这个是要让我上去，还是他是让他从那个上面下来的，就分不太清楚。应该是重复回去的而已，没关系，先把它用起来好了。其他入口，比较好奇，其他入口表示是真的有可以进去的吗？哎呦，为了活下来，我们必须与人为善。还有其他入口吗？哎，现在这还是没有办法，没有钥匙的进不去。可是其他入口会是在哪里啊？其他入口，我先保存一下好了，新存档。我怕那个不小心需要的时候，然后结果没有存档可以用。怎么样下去啊？有办法吗？它的渠道不是真的渠道，因为上面这里说照理说要有流水的，它没有真的在流，那个没有水流正在这个地方。模型上面没有做出来吗？太消耗那个资源了。不然看来我们就只能破坏那个准则之后再 reset 一次。找到别的方法进，别的方法。好难哦！你知道这个这样子下来，没有办法蹲下来走进去啊。它应该就是设计不让你进去的。好了，我们 reset 一下好了，我们看那个我们可以给他多少。
Salve again? No.
就是给他多少那个要说任务吗？给 给他一些能够帮他赚选票的任务，这样子。
Hope you find a way to break that cycle.
Wow, isn't that a big long bow?
Hello there, friend. Are you well, stranger?
Fear is proof of a degenerate.
Sentience, I suppose. Yeah? And what's he gonna do for me? He's nothing.
如果给你一份礼物，你会改变心意吗
？Certainly. For
3000。
Nothing illegal about it.
OK， 所以要3000块啊，好。所以有些人可以买通就对了。
Well, that's a shame. Very well.
Don't you just love springtime?
A degenerate mind.
那我看一下，我先看一下还有谁要找，然后我们再 reset 一次，就是有谁要讲话这样子。哎，天要黑了。
What now?
打算给谁投票？不投票。OK。
Whatever.
那我等下再去买他的票好了。哦，换他在这里嘞。他在这里帮忙刷这个。
Hilarious.
Yes. 好，那这样子的话，我们应该买那个票就可以了。来，我们去买票，然后 reset 一次。哎，还有可能不用 reset 哦，我买了，然后直接来试看看。
Hello there. Well. Oh well, let me know if you change your mind. Yeah. Pleasure doing business. Very well.
You, Tantalus, cannot catch the drops.
这位。
Shalom. Sentius, I suppose. Galerius.
没有办法说服他吗？
Sentius.
突然失踪了。
Nothing. And this? All right.
Citizen.
One night a few months ago, when I was cleaning Marios's villa, I heard a young woman singing. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever heard. I wasn't allowed out. So once everyone else was asleep, I climbed up the inside of the villa and onto the roof, just to see where that sound was coming from. And that's when I saw her. Standing in the garden of the magistrate's villa, I just sat there on the roof, listening to her.
Cynthia 是那个不见的妹妹嘛。
And for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. And then she looked up and saw me and she smiled. I knew at that moment the fates had brought me to her. And from the moment she asked my name with this warmth and curiosity, I knew I'd have done anything for her. And so for weeks on end, each night I'd climb out of the villa and into her father's garden. We'd hold hands and talk about all the things we'd do once we got out of here. Like having our own vineyard. And then one morning I woke up and everyone was out searching for her. They said she'd vanished in the night. All I could do was keep my head down and try to hide how beside myself I was.
虚张声势，虚张声势有用吗？他原本还要自杀。时辰已到，选出行政官哦。选举开始了。到哪里啊？哎，我看大家跑去哪里好了，我跟着走。是在这边吗？没有。啊！你们在看墙壁干嘛？啊，到这里啊！你们都不会觉得这些这样子放在这边很可怕？我来看一下有谁要那个哈。所以这里有 ，OK， 有这一位会投嘛？1、2，然后假如说他真的有的话，3好像不太够，有没有？因为1、2、3，哎，1、2、3、4、5、6票，现在还在平手。As agreed, we shall dispense with ballots, and candidates will abstain from voting. Let's make this quick. As I say your name, call your vote. I'll start with you, Horatius.
Sentius, of course.
Georgius. Galerius. He saved the life of my dear friend Fabia.
Dacius.
Galerius.
Virgil.
Sentius.
Ulpius.
Galerius, the man who saved my life.
Yes.
Rufius.
The man who treated my rheumatism. Galerius.
Yes.
Citizens,
you
have made your decision. Your new magistrate is Gallus Galerius Helva.
What?
It has been
What?
decided. Magistrate Galerius, would you like to make a brief address?
I just want to say, this isn't something I ever wanted. Now that you've put your trust in me, I'm going to do everything I can not to let you down. I'll need some time to put together a list of the changes I want to make around here. But I promise you, there will be changes. My first order is that Dooley is to be freed. Horatius, release him from his cell immediately. Please. Wait, do I need to say please? I suppose not. That's it. You can all get on with your day. Nothing else to see here. Move along.
Move along. Yeah! Yeah! 我们的工具人成为行政官了。Yo!
Glad Galerius won. He deserved it.
然后他们去把它放出来了。Yes!
Fortune smiles on you today, Julius. Magistrate Galerius here has ordered your release.
You're going to let me out of here?
I'm sorry it took so long, my friend. And it
恭
wouldn't
喜
have
工
happened
具
at
人
all
呢
if it wasn't for a newcomer. So be sure to offer your thanks when you can.
I will. I will. Thank you, Galerius. I'm so happy.
I'd love to stay and chat, but I've got a lot of work ahead of me. Why don't you go to the baths? Then tell Georgius I said you could have some new clothes. Then I want you to go home and rest. I'll speak with you soon, Dooley.
Yeah! 说话。我要跟你说话，你的钥匙，钥匙，钥匙，兄弟，钥匙，钥匙，哦。好，先拿。 收集4块。交谈。钥匙啊！钥匙嘞！啊，钥匙嘞！哦，哦，他的信。钥匙没有在这里。哟。还是因为我没有跟他达成那个谢，我没有跟他达成那个，所以没有办法。好吧，没关系，那我们去覆水难收，我们就不解了，我们去走，就是这里面忤逆吗？来，我们把第4块放上去，结束这一回合。好，翻脸不认人。我们来看一下会发生什么事好了。要走这个方向了齁，保存，我再存一下好了。最后1块。哦 ！Holy shit！ 要来了，只要精彩大结局吗？ Say my name。哦，所以我说什么名字，它会是什么形态吗？这个我比较好奇，因为他说是要说他的名字嘛，所以感觉是要说。想看 Cyrus。 Which way? Tell me this way. 你的 this way 从左边来，我会以为是左边。还是有顺序的。哎呦，还是我是要看门才行，依照门的顺序跟造型吗？因为像是这里是希腊吗？ 埃及，因为普鲁托、Pluto、Hades、Osiris， 然后是这样子的顺序。哦，没有开是错的。 好吧，我们有这几个了 ，Hades， 应该是这个，对，啊，是我们这个房间的。现在这个房间是哪一个？要选择哪一个？这样子。这什么高科技的东西？ 这我完全走一个刺客教条的未来感了，什么东西？ We meet at last.
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans. But the one constant through it all has been my title. God of the underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You're unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so brazenly. But there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will.
给我讲讲你的故事。好。
My story is many thousands of years long. You will need to be more specific.
你从最一开始吧，我们慢慢坐在这边听。你是一位。
It is a matter of perspective.
Okay.
God is a label I was given by you mortals, not one I gave myself. Your ancestors revered me because to them, my knowledge and technology made me incomprehensibly powerful, just as you might seem so to an insect. But despite all that, there are rules even I must obey.
外表和声音为何和人类一样？
My kin and I all adopted this form long ago, so that we might better understand and communicate with your kind. In time, we grew fond of the sensory delights it affords: desire, joy, ecstasy, even rage and sorrow, while an acquired taste can be addictive.
我能看看真正的形态吗
No.
Okay.
Long ago, I swore to Persephone that I would remain in this form for as long as we remained among your kind. I must honor that. This is my beloved. Like me, she has been known by many names.
哦，就是她。
To the Sumerians, Isis to the Egyptians, Persephone to the Greeks, and Persephone to the Romans. Or perhaps you might know her as the goddess of springtime, the cycle of life and renewal.
OK， 好，我不会说。
Your gaze lingers too long.
不好意思。
That is my servant. You would have met her at the river, though she wears many faces, and goes by many names. Tubal to the Sumerians, Curti to the Egyptians, Charon to the Greeks, and Charon to the Romans. Her role is to ferry souls between the mortal world and this one, and to make their transition as seamless as possible. For that, she earned herself the infamous, if erroneous, moniker, the Ferryman. You will talk more later. For now, ask your questions.
Wow.
As you wish.
这是什么地方？
It has come to be known simply as the underworld.
为了很久以前的赌约。
Because of a wager I made long ago.
怎么样的赌约？
That is a long story, one that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago, my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life
Elysium.
among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your two short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Persephone saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished, but soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that great civilization, we saw something disturbing. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name. My kin had seen enough and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals. We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoiled by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Persephone could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind. And so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation in a deep frozen sleep to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Persephone's father, Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Persephone and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind, to watch over you without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here.
3000年了，完全没有一届成功。
Waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am after all this time.
不好意思啊，我们没有一年能够成功的。shit。 对，很笨，完全没有成功过啊，真的是有点难啊。
There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names, but perhaps you knew them by their Roman names. Our leader Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved Persephone.
谁建造了这座城市？
As the first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced by Egyptians. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians
and
made all the same mistakes.
Yep.
After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans. They all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten.
你如何决定谁能来这里？
To ensure the wager was fair,
随机选择。
it was important that my subjects were chosen at random. To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from silver, a rare element at the time, across all of Sumer. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's Obol, or as coins for the ferrymen. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, almost all of the tokens are accounted for. Only 2 remain. And so after this wave destroys itself, as it is destined to do, your kind will have squandered the last of its potential to ascend beyond this rock, and Proserpines along with it.
人类对冥界有多少认知？
It is a regrettable story.
第一批是
One of the first men who came to this place was a king of Sumer and a troublemaker. To be rid of him, I returned him to his people on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream. His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, and his words were twisted and distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Their Book of the Dead and Book of Gates bore less and less resemblance to this place, and their priests' pursuit of profit. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning, and in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them escaped. A warrior named Heracles, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here, and how to escape. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth. Of course, that is merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing.
为什么要把人变成黄金？
That is a story dating back to the very first wave. After the Sumerians finished building their city, the self-declared ruler threw a banquet to celebrate. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife, a prestigious position of power and influence in a new world. Of all the women, 2 were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful, and both arrived at the banquet wearing eye-catching dresses and painted faces, their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklaces, bracelets, and rings fashioned from gold.
Okay.
Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal.
该不会
She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold. And when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a discussion in a quiet place. She checked that nobody was watching and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat, where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching, and I decided to answer her prayer. By Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe in a layer of molten gold. And I left her to stand there, that she might serve as a grim reminder of what befalls those who sin in my domain. But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by her sin, and the wager could no longer be won. So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came after, line the halls of this city, inanimate but conscious.
人有意识，
in time with only their sight
视
and
觉跟
hearing
听觉。
preserved, so they may bear witness to and lament the folly of your kind for eternity, as silent golden sentinels.
所以这些人的生命都是你夺走。
I give your kind a second chance at life, as well as ample warning about my law. And when you disobey and you always disobey. You force my hand, bringing terrible suffering upon yourselves.
Okay.
And so you ask,
可是讲话越讲越气。
destroying your lives. And I say, no, you destroy
yourselves.
Yeah. I am merely the means by which you do it. When my kin departed, they left behind many relics which I inherited. A consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to
Diana.
one of my kin, who the Romans called Diana. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them and equipped them each with a duplicate of her bow, and tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies.
你认为什么样的行为是罪？
I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios.
好奇他的角度是
This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added, treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you is born with the faculties required to apply it to any situation. Yet none of the peoples who expressed this rule were able to uphold it. Curious, is it not?
好想呛他哦，似乎你自己也没有。然后我就把他马上被赶出去了。
For you, perhaps. I've always
等一下，我看一下，
considered
如果另外一个选择会怎样？
Yet enough.
够了。
I'm able to commune with all of the statues in the city.
耳目就是你的耳目
Their
，OK。
ears are my ears, and their eyes are my eyes.
哎，我就没有要说这个哎，靠腰，我怎么？哎，没有其他选择吗？我这靠我，哎，我这怎么会？我操！你们这我没有让他抖出来，什么？怎么我的妈！
If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask?
Nothing.
Then what an odd question.
吓死我了！吓死我了！我的妈！
Do you plan to speak in sweeping generalizations, or are you going to give me an example? The merchant. How is that inconsistent with the rule I've outlined? I disagree. Having watched this merchant, that is precisely what he would expect from others, and he would be quite capable of paying the price anyway. Applying this rule always requires speculation to some degree. It requires us to ask what another person would want if they found themselves in another situation.
这样来法则不就天然带有主观意味，从而也不可靠。
Not if we're wise enough to know the mind of man. Supposing you're right, and my law's been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want? Then your desire to be right outweighs your desire to survive. You will make a fine statue.
哦，只有这个。
Do you really think you can wound me, a god, with that primitive weapon? See my crown.
也许你是永生不死的，但你爱人不是。哦，我们要这样子哦，这个，这个选择，这个。在跟我讲话。
How dare you threaten her? This ends now. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
房间在哪里啊？哎呦，他的房间在哪里啊？我比较好奇他的房间在哪。哎，他房间。为什么过不去？哎，房间在哪里？过不去啊！他房间嘞？嗯？可恶！哎，你房间怎么走？禁止的房间。他的王冠嘞？等一下，我看一下。寻找这里的哲学家，寻求帮助。哦。时间倒流，冲啊！不，闪！我闪！No！ 快打开 ！No！ 可恶，要跟他重新谈了吗？
And here, allow me. No, not the one.
Fine.
That is merely the name you're. I've all. This. Enough. You clear. Do you.
对黄金雕像的实验。在意。
You speak of the moneylender, and he would never have signed a contract pledging his labor for 30 years. Ignoring your irritating sense of moral superiority. I see, and how... I fail to see how your system of loans is significantly different to a debt bondsman signing over his labor for 30 years. Supposing you're... Now tell me.
OK。原来这一切只表示哦，有。
The midwife and the palace, yes.
黄金法则有何违背之处？
The rule is do unto others, meaning other people. Those statues are something else now. Bloodless shadows, mere shapes of themselves. They are forsaken. What happens to them is no concern of mine. Applying this rule always requires us to interpret the meaning. The literal interpretation helps to minimize the ambiguities of your primitive language. Supposing you're... Now tell me, do you honestly think you could do better?
没有了，但我的观点就是这样：任何人判断对错的能力都是不完美，没有人应该掌握如此之大的权力。你已经成为了一个暴君。
I should strike you down for that. Now, did you have any other questions before your reckoning? Very well. Good. Only it has long been within my power to see to the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible? Charon, where did you find this one?
I do not remember ferrying you. How did you come here?
可能年纪大了，所以健忘。2000年内拿到这里的 ，OK。
If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
He cannot know.
I do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpine has slumbered for 3,000 years.
作为冥界之神，你不是应该很清楚？他说哪一个呢？哦，这个剧情选择真的是还蛮有意思。在这里发生的事一无所知。
Tread lightly, mortal. Enough of this. Why have you...
希望你废除黄金法则。
Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case.
所以我们有可能要先回去找那个老头，跟他聊一下这
If you
个。
anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments, you face death here. So, tell me, why should I put an end to the so-called Golden Rule?
如果你自己都有罪，又怎么能期望我们过无罪的生活？
That is a very serious accusation, mortal. What sin have I committed?
Shit, 时间。
What evidence do you have to support it?
时间，等一下要看电影。shit， 而且我们那个，等一下如果讲完话。
I am well aware of the story told by the Greeks and Romans of my so-called abduction. It is entirely unfair. My love was dying, and I intervened the only way I could to save her life. What would you have done? It was an act of rebellion against the others. She knew I would have to act to save her, and I did because I loved her. I love her still. Accordingly, I reject your argument. These people were all dead when my servant found them. I gave them a second chance at life. Would you prefer to have simply ceased to exist?
Yeah. Maybe.
Then you still have the option to end your life should you wish, and you are no worse off than if I had not intervened. Accordingly, I reject your argument. Every one of those people was guilty of failing to ensure their peers lived virtuously. They failed collectively, and so they were punished collectively. The Romans understand this, as did the Greeks before them. Ah, but I am a god, and you are a mortal. Why would you expect me to treat as I treat my own kind? You are not a peer. You are not a respected equal. Let me ask you this. Do you treat insects as you wish to be treated? Do you care for their well-being as you would your fellow man? Do you ensure they have food and shelter and protection from predators? Do you give them rights?
撒谎会怎样？好奇哦。
Of course not, because that would be absurd, just as it would be absurd for me to treat your kind as equals. My love for her does not mean I am not superior, now that she is mortal. Where to begin? Our lifespans exceed yours by thousands of years, in which time we accumulate vast wisdom and a mastery of technology you cannot begin to imagine. Because that is the source of our power over you. You could say that. My kin have no superiors. I suppose there is a hierarchy among my kin, with Jupiter at the top. Make your point, mortal. Let me ponder that for a moment. If you are right, then it would follow that all this time I have been in the wrong. But no, the very thought of it grieves me. How can I accept your argument when doing so would make me a tyrant and a monster? Your hubris grows tiresome. You will make a fine.
我应该是要拿到那个的。
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. You vile.
要小心那个，取下，走啊！我觉得就是要有那个才能跟他谈。等一下，先保存，存可以存，太好了。 这个 loading，哦 shit， 他掉下去 ，shoot， 啊，哦这里，哎，飞走 ，shit， 跳不上去，哎呦，no， 哎呦，不要死掉！等一下，我现在得躲一下。OK， 来，再一下，可以。然后趁这个时候回血。哦，在上面。哦。我们要解完嘞，等一下，时间可能有一点那个，不过。
Salve, friend. Mine? Oh. Yulia. Oh. All right. I'll go.
去吧。看我要出动了。时间上来讲，我不知道30分以前有没有办法，我们等一下来看看。那个看电影稍微微延迟一下，应该还好。哦，这里是这里。我们又再来一次。
And here you are. Allow me to.
Yeah. I know. Shut up.
But there will be first. I would recognize that anywhere, and yet my beloved still wears hers. What is this? How did you come by it? You vile, despicable creature. Why would you do such a thing? And worse still, boast about it.
I can do this all day 这是那个，跟那个 Doctor Strange 一样，叫那个坏人走，不然一直 repeat 到他崩掉为止。
If I refuse, you will murder her. And yet, if I agree, I will lose my wager and return to Elysium, humiliated and alone. I do not see that I have a choice in this. Your treachery and savagery have opened my eyes like nothing I have witnessed in 3,000 years. And now you have shown me your species' true colors. And I see that Proserpina was a fool to have ever believed in you at all. This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form.
原来是这个竟然是这个结局。我会结。
But know this. If I abandon the wager and
我拿到那个一个了，拿到一个成就了。 对，我知道 I can do something 是那个 Captain America 的台词，可是那不一样，你懂吗？我说的是 I can do something 是那个他讲的话，可是他现在的情况是 Doctor Strange 的情况。
Very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest. Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready? You had best pray our paths never cross again, mortal.
一个结局啊！等一下，我想看另外一个，因为我应该是要2。
Oh. Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al. Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Know who you are? I barely remember how I got here myself. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman,
That's me.
foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience, and the doors just opened up to her. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years? What? Oh, I see. For a moment there, I thought you were serious. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me.
还有吗？没了吧？
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple. You go on ahead. I'll be there soon.
Oh, 好想知道另外一个其他结局哦。他还在。
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al? Ah, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
Ah, I see. I thought you might.
Whoa.
Now you know.
Shit.
I suppose you have questions. You can just call me Charon, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned. from 5,000 years of experience. That most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time. That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead. 之前遭受严重创伤。It is because they suffered a terrible trauma. Most souls would rather not remember. Okay. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know?
Why not? 我们选了这个。
As you wish.
Murdered, okay.
You were murdered. You were falsely accused of a terrible crime, and fled into the wild to evade your accusers. On your final night, you were offered sanctuary in the cottage of a stranger, who gave you food and money, including, by accident, a coin of ancient origin. Unfortunately, you were apprehended and attacked by authorities. Your host leapt to your aid. You both fought bravely, but your assailants were armed, and you were not. There was nothing you or your ally could have done. He died instantly at the scene, and you
另外一位应该就是阿尔吧，那个陌生人。
That man's name was Al Worth.
果然。
You were each in possession of a sacred coin, called Karen's Opal by some, and so it was my duty to bring you here. Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans burying their dead with a coin in their mouths. Well,
任何银币都可以。
A long time ago,
因为早就已经混到那个了
created
吧。
1,000 silver coins, and had me distribute them across the world. My orders were simple. Whenever a person died in possession of a coin,
圣币。
I was to locate them and ferry them here. That is a question you would have to ask him, if that were still possible. I am just his servant. Only now, I find myself
我们是最后的2枚啊。
You see, the coins on you and Al were the last of the 1,000 in existence. There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course. I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story. And I look forward to hearing all about it. But you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
1年后。哦，1年后。Damn， 这好，这剧情很厉害呢。
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read about your trial in the news. Congratulations on your acquittal. Still, I'm sorry you had to go through all that. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius's tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you. I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
Oh, hello.
It's
There
you.
she is.
哎，都是他们所有人在现代，怎么会？
You're finally here. Remember me? It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Karen appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over.
对，是送到我现代来了。
She returned us to your world instead of ours.
Wow.
Anyway, I know we only had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and
Holy
giving us
shit.
a second chance at life.
这个剧情。
Oh, I used Karen's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together.
Good for
we're planning
you!
to get married next spring. If you're gonna be around, we'd love to see you there. Of course, there's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you.
我觉得这不是这感觉好不真实。这个我觉得我们没有到，这不是最好的 end， 但是。
You're here. It's lovely to finally meet you. Galerius told me all about you. So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last of the Roman gods. As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work. I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable. Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside with room for a large family, and Dooley too, of course. It feels like the world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us, for all of us. Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself. See you at the wedding, I hope.
Dooley!
Hello, I'm Dooley. Galerius said you're very nice and a big helper. Thank you for getting us out of the bad place. I didn't like it. I live at Galerius and
忘记的事情他们会帮他记起来。
Equitia's house.
Okay.
They look
Good,
after
good, good.
me now and help me remember when I forget things, like brushing my teeth. Bye bye.
Hey.
Evening.
Hi there.
You are here. It's nice to finally meet you. Lucy is fine.
Lucy.
I'm making an effort to blend in, as you can see. We are all trying to keep a low profile. If the world knew we died 2,000 years ago and were suddenly brought back to life 12 months ago, they'd never leave us alone. Speaking of which, I wanted to say thank you in person. I'd say the gods smile on you, but I hear you drove the last of them off. So, I'm studying to get into medical school. As much as I resented the responsibility of keeping everyone in the city alive, when it ended, I realized I missed it. So I guess I'll just keep saving the world, if begrudgingly, one patient at a time. You too, don't.
好像每个人都讲话。
Hello. You're the Oracle, right? Oh, of course.
Hi
sorry.
there.
And I never got a chance to thank you. And of course, getting me.
我比较好奇他们两个。
Last I heard,
他们两个不在这里了。
Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire, and
傻眼
wound
呢。
up being committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld. After the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude? Thank you. You're very kind. Oh, I barely recognize. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually, I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and learn and write about. I have noticed people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are. I hope to change that. One day.
奥雷利亚。
Someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently, he'd proposed before they'd even met. And last I heard, she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... What was it? Nigeria? Some people have all the luck. Really? Huh. I feel better already. Thank you. You too! If you're ever in London, let me know. We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there. I hope so.
Wow.
Hey. I take it you're the Oracle. Actually, I changed my name to Cynthia. I didn't want to be associated with Sentius after what happened. I'm not sure if you heard, but after you drove Pluto off, Proserpina emerged from the Great Temple. She knew right away what none of us had figured out about that psychopath. He'd been keeping my little sister locked up in the upper cistern all that time.
What?
But he's been dealt with. He's...
What?
You know what? The important thing is we'll never see him again.
Shit.
Anything I want. I'm a woman of means in a vast new world. I can go wherever and do whatever I please. Of course, I mostly just stay in my villa and have my servant Alexa summon things for me, because it's just awful out there. Barbarians everywhere. He's still there, all alone. The last golden statue in the underworld. Trapped in a metal shell, slowly losing his mind until the end of time. Eternal torment. Just what he deserves, if you ask me. You too. See you around.
Evening.
Magnificent museum, is it not?
哦，乔治乌斯，我看一下还有谁。哎，他也出来了。
I take it you're the oracle everybody's talking about. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. We have. I'm sorry, I don't
我们知道他的真实名称了。
In any case, I'm Philip. I never thought I'd leave that cave, let alone the city. And now I'm living in the 21st century. What a time to be alive. And it seems I have your catabasis to thank for it. I'm working as a
剑桥大学古典系担任顾问。
Wow. Helping fill the odd gap in their knowledge. Not that I need the money, but I do love being around enlightened minds again. My sincere thanks once.
Some soiree, innit?
哎，家伙感觉还是一样糟糕。
Hello there.
哦
What is up?
来看一下他现在在干嘛。
It is an honor to finally meet you, Oracle. You know my name? Oh, of course. You are an Oracle. You know many things. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from that place and for your role in bringing us here. This world is truly wondrous. For a time, I returned to Alexandria, but
回到了亚历山大港，
they have
可
no
是
need
已经
of
不是亚历
another
山大港。
fisherman, and I came to see there is nothing for me there. Instead, I have decided to follow the custom
去当一名背包客，
and
不错不错。
backpack the world. It is a great adventure, and I have met many people from many cultures. I spent the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me access to the afterlife. Now, I think it is time I had some fun. Indeed.
Hello.
哦，哇，他们两位到底有没有在一起啊？这样。
Hello there. Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own
他
name.
造型就是，
You didn't hear?
他造型
My adoptive
跟
father
Karen
sent
一样啊。
locked me up in the upper cistern to stop me from escaping. After you drove Pluto off, Proserpina came and released me, and that monster got what was coming to him. I'm living with Ulpius on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's even more wonderful than I dreamed it would be. I'm so grateful to you for making sure he's still with us. If you're ever passing through the region, I hope you'll come and visit us.
OK， 所以他们两个啊，这两位嘞，你的那个公司到底好了没
Nice to meet you. I go by Rufus now.
Rufus, OK.
New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for what you did. Sorry, I'm no good with the mushy stuff. Huh. Good to know. Anyway, it was good practice for the new world. Security cameras and smartphones everywhere. Got to stay vigilant. I live with Virgil in
哦，住
Rotterdam,
在一起了
not far from where he grew
Nice.
up. It's very modern.
鹿特丹呢？
Destroying the war and it
想去鹿特丹。
rebuilt itself. Good place for a fresh start. Haven't decided
也
what
是一个，
I'm
也是一个
going to do with my
想
life
去的一个
yet.
点。
One adjustment at a... You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
It's so nice to finally meet you. I wanted to thank you, and for helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow. I'm studying to be an architect again, and living with Rufus in our beautiful flat in Rotterdam.
他以前就是做，以前就是建筑师的，虽然说不是当代的。
Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are. You too. If you're ever in the Netherlands,
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina.
Holy shit.
Former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. And now, a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person. And thank you for freeing all these people. And me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention. Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues.
Okay.
And whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected. I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of a cycle of life and renewal.
这的确是她。
After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way.
Tara 呢？
Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld.
继承了。
Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will, one day. And you, although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city?
对啊，那些了。
Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
4种结局之其4。我们拿到了完整结局耶，这是最后的结局耶。某种程度上来讲，我们成功了。Holy shit！ 我们拿到这个我们这个是 canon ending 呢，它有出现的。他说，但这也是一个办法，而且可以让你到这个结尾。只是我们没有解开我们过程没有解开那个蓄水池那边的那个谜。哦，好，大家可以休息了。Shit。全剧终，谢谢大家。对，谢谢大家。茶花，不错这个剧情，这个他那个的语言，他的那个做的选择，我都觉得就是你们说的很难选，可是这是我觉得好的可以做到一件事，就是你觉得两边都是可以走的路，或两边都会有你会想看的东西，让它增加一些那种不只是游戏的那种，你可以再玩一次的可能性，跟那个你会想去听的那个选择。哇！而且这里面讲的东西很有趣啊。我们就是推荐大家去看那个《正义》那本书，里面有些就是关于黄金法则这个东西，它有点类似，或者是有相关的那种呼应，就对了。哇！如果对这种议题有兴趣的话，探讨什么样就是道德的那个部分。对。好，那等一下去看电影了。对，先。直播就先到这里，我就点击进去。好，希望你能够喜欢《遗忘之城》，我们希望在将来制作更多出优质的游戏，期待。这个他们可以第一个游戏可以做成这样子，期待。好，那大家晚安，拜拜。